Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is 𝐁𝐫𝐜𝐡𝐢𝐒. First of all, happy Diwali to each and everyone. In this video, we are going to celebrate Diwali in a techie way. I have built a static Diwali website and where we are going to deploy it on AWS ECS. So here you can see this is the architecture right now we are going to follow. So initially, first we are going to create an Ubuntu EC2 instance and there we are going to install Jenkins, Docker, Trivy and Terraform. Then after, we are going to set up a Jenkins pipeline to pull the source code from the GitHub repository. So in the second stage, it will authenticate with AWS. So in the third stage, it will build the Docker image. It will tag the Docker image with the latest Jenkins build number and it will push the Docker image to AWS ECR. Next, using Trivy, we are going to scan our latest Docker image for any of the security issues. So in the fourth stage, using Terraform, we are going to provision AWS infrastructure like VPC, subnets, internet gateways, route tables, application load balancers, target groups, and ECS clusters, and everything using Terraform. So, in the final stage, Jenkins will always deploy latest Docker image to AWS ECS automatically. Okay. So, once the pipeline is green, we are going to access our website using application load balancer DNS name, and after that we are going to map this application load balancer DNS name to AWS Route 53. And finally, to secure our site, we are going to request an SSL and TLS certificate from AWS Certificate Manager for a HTTPS connection. Okay, so this is about the project architecture. So before starting this project, let me show you the final output for this project. Let me open this VS Code. So basically inside this folder, I have created three different directories. One is for Diwali wishes website and second is for Terraform scripts to provision AWS infrastructure and third is for Jenkins pipeline. Okay. So inside this, you can find this Jenkins pipeline. So first let's try to build a Docker image for this Diwali wishes website. So basically I developed this website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Okay. So let me open this terminal and run it to file. And if you want to know about this Diwali wishes website, you can directly open this README file and you can study about this entire static website, guys. Okay. So let me copy this command to build a Docker image. Let me do ls and let me directly enter into this Diwali wishes folder. Okay. So now I'm going to build a Docker image. So now it is currently building a Docker image. So let me hit here Docker images. So here you can see Diwali wishes Docker image has been built successfully. So let me open this and let me directly select images. So here you can see image has been built successfully last 18 seconds ago. Okay. So now let me open this VS Code and let me try to run a Docker container. So let me copy this command. So let me keep it here and let me run this. Now Docker PS. So here you can see our Docker container is active and running. So let me open this and let me select here containers. So here you can see this is the container it is running. So let me open this. Okay. So here you can see this is the final output for our project. Welcome to Diwali celebrations. Enter your name to receive personalized Diwali wishes and enjoy the fireworks. Okay. So now let me select here Vijay and start celebration. Okay. So here you can see Happy Diwali Vijay. Wishing you a festival full of sweets, memories, fun and love. Okay. So you will get random quotations, guys. Okay. So if you refresh this and if I select some another name like Naresh and if I select a start celebration, you will get some other quotation. Similarly, if you provide some another name and if you select here start celebration, you will get some other quotation. Okay. May the beauty of Diwali fill your heart with joy and love. Okay. So you will get different types of quotations. Okay. So I just built this using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Okay. So if you want to know how I just built this website means you can directly open this and let me close this and you can directly open this readme file and you can directly study this readme file, guys. Okay. So similarly, this is the Terraform scripts to provision entire AWS infrastructure like VPC, subnets, routables, internet gateways, and ECS clusters, application load balancers, target groups, and everything. So I just built this Terraform scripts using Terraform modules. So inside this module, you can find module for ALB, application load balancer, and you can find module for ECS, and you can find module for VPC. So we are going to pass all this from main.tf file. Okay. So I will explain you this Terraform scripts while writing Jenkins pipeline. Okay. So let's start implementing this project. So here you can see this is my AWS management console. So let's start doing this project from scratch. So first let's create a VPC. So let's wait, it is loading. Directly select here your VPCs, and currently I have only the default VPC. So now I'm going to create a new VPC. So directly select here create VPC. So now let me provide the name like project VPC. Let me provide CID here like 10.0.0.0/16, and I'm going to select here create VPC, and now I'm going to create a subnet, create subnet, and I want to create under project VPC, and I want to provide name like project subnet 1. Okay, one subnet is enough, guys. So I'm going to provide subnet CID here like 10.0.0.0/21, and I'm going to directly select here create subnet. So here you can see subnet has been created. So you can directly select the subnet, actions, edit subnet settings, and I'm going to enable IPv4 address for this. So directly save this. So now we need to create an internet gateway. So directly select create internet gateway, project IGW, and create internet gateway. So using this internet gateway, we are going to provide internet access for this VPC. Okay, so currently it is in detached mode. So no VPC is using this internet gateway. So I'm going to select here attach to a VPC, and this is the VPC project VPC. So for this VPC, I'm going to provide internet access for this using this internet gateway. Okay, so directly select here attach internet gateway. Now here you can see it is attached to this project VPC. So state it is changed to attached. Okay. So now select route tables, and I'm going to create a route table. So directly select here create route table, and let me provide the name like project RT, project route table. And here VPC I'm going to select here project VPC, and directly select here create route table. Okay. So now route table has been created. Now we need to associate our subnet with this route table. So directly select here subnet associations, edit subnet associations, and you need to select this project subnet and directly select save associations. Okay. So now you need to update routes. So you need to directly select routes, edit routes, add route, and 0.0.0.0/0 through internet gateway. We are going to provide internet access. Okay. So let me select here subnet association. So here you can see our subnet is associated successfully, and routes is also updated successfully. So now from network inside entire setup is ready. So now I'm going to create a EC2 instance. Let me open EC2 in a new tab and directly select instances. So I'm going to create a new EC2 instance. So I'm going to create everything in US East 1 region. Okay. So I'm going to use this EC2 instance to run Jenkins. So that's why I'm going to provide the name like Jenkins VM, and OS I'm going to select Ubuntu. Next instance type I'm going to select T2 large. Let me select this, and here I'm going to select instance type as T2 large. So it comes with the 2 CPUs and 8 GB of memory. Okay. So I'm going to create a new key pair. So currently I don't have even single key pair. So I'm going to create a new key pair. So let me provide the name like Jenkins hyphen key pair, and I'm going with .pem create key pair. So now a key pair will be downloaded to our local machine. So under networking settings, let me edit this. So here I'm going to select this project VPC, and I'm going to select this project subnet 1. So okay. So here you need to keep this auto SN public IP in enable. Okay. So now I'm going to create a security group, project SG, project security group. So here also project SG. Okay, description is project security group. So for security group, we are going to provide the name like project SG. Now I'm going to provide only SSH access. and source type anywhere, and I'm going with 20 GB, and directly select here launch instance, and directly select instances and refresh this. So currently it is in pending state, so we need to wait at least 20 to 30 seconds to come to running state. Okay, so let's wait for some time. So here you can see our instance is in running state. So now let's try to connect to this EC2 instance. So let me copy this public IP address. So here I'm going to use moboextem. So here you can use moboextem putty or it may be anything. So directly select your session SSH and paste public IP address, and here username as Ubuntu and advanced SSH settings, and check mark this private key, and here you need to provide the path of the private key. So this is the key, open and OK. So now it will connect to this EC2 instance. So here you can see successfully it is connected to this EC2 instance. Now let me hit sudo apt update -y. So initially first we need to update this EC2 instance, and let me clear the screen. Now let me hit sudo su. So now we are on root user. So now here we are going to install Jenkins. So let you can directly open this repository, and you can directly open this install -scripts.md. And here you can see these are the scripts to install Jenkins, and this is the script to install Trivy, and this is the script to install Terraform, and this is the script to install AWS CLI, and these are the commands to install Docker. Okay, so first let's install Jenkins. So I will show you where we can get all the commands. So directly paste it here. Okay, and hit enter. So now Jenkins will install in this EC2 instance. So it takes nearly 2 to 3 minutes to install this Jenkins script. So meanwhile, let me show you where we can get all these scripts. So if you want to get for Jenkins, directly hit jenkins.io and directly select here download. So this is the official documentations of Jenkins. Okay, so directly select here Ubuntu. So by following these commands, you can directly install Jenkins on Ubuntu EC2 instance, guys. Okay. So now, similarly, if you want to install Terraform, directly search for install Terraform on Ubuntu. Okay. So directly open this second link, and here you can see Ubuntu and Debian. So these are the commands to install Terraform on Ubuntu and Debian. So similarly, if you want to install on CentOS, you can directly select here CentOS. So here you can see these are the commands to install on CentOS. So similarly, if you want to install on Fedora, you can directly select this. So these are the commands to install on Fedora. Okay. So similarly, if you want to install AWS CLI, search for install AWS CLI on Ubuntu. Open this first link. So here directly select Linux, and here you can see these are the commands to install AWS CLI on Ubuntu EC2 instance. Okay, so before this you need to install unzip package. Okay, so here you can see because we are going to unzip this, right, so you need to install unzip package. So I have written that in these scripts. So here you can see first I'm going to install unzip package, after that we are going to install AWS CLI. Similarly, if you want to install Trivy, you can directly search for install Trivy on Ubuntu. Open this first link. So here you can see Debian and Ubuntu. So using these scripts, we can directly install Trivy on Ubuntu EC2 instance. Okay, so here you can see you can find the same scripts here, guys. So I just copied every command from official documentations itself. Okay, so let me close this and let me open this. So here you can see still Jenkins is in installing state. So it takes nearly 2 to 3 minutes to install Jenkins. So meanwhile, let me open this a Notion. So here you can see initially we created an EC2 instance, and there we are going to install Jenkins, Docker, Trivy and Terraform, right? So after that we need to connect to Jenkins, and there we need to install these plugins: AWS credentials, Docker, Terraform and pipeline stage view. Okay, so we need to install these three plugins, and we need to integrate these plugins on Jenkins tools. Okay, So after that, we need to create an AWS IAM access keys and secret keys, and we need to provide that IAM access keys and secret keys on Jenkins credentials. So similarly, we need to generate GitHub token, that means GitHub personal access token, and we need to provide that token on Jenkins credentials in order to clone this GitHub repository. Okay, basically it's a private repository, right? So let me show you this. So here you can see basically it's a private repository. So in order to clone this repository, you need to generate a personal access token and you need to provide that personal access token on Jenkins credentials. Okay, so if you want to know about this repository, you can directly come down here. You can see static Diwali website which is deployed on AWS ECS. So first let me check this. So here you can see installation has been success. So I will explain you this later, guys. Okay, so first let's complete this installation. So let me open this install scripts.md and let me copy this commands to install Trivy, Terraform and AWS CLI, and let me paste it here and hit OK, enter. So hit Y. So before while installing, I will explain you this repository, guys. Okay. So let me come down. So here you can see, so this project is a festival DevOps exercise. I built a static Diwali website, Diwali wishes website and deployed it on AWS ECS using complete CI/CD pipeline with Jenkins and Terraform. Okay, so this is the project overview. So I built a static website with, as I said, HTML5, CSS and JavaScript and tree.js. Okay, so we are going to deploy it on AWS ECS in a secure and automated way, and we are going to provision infrastructure using Terraform. So this is the tech stack we are using. So in AWS services, we are going to use EC2, ECS, ECR, VPC, Subnet, Application Load Balancer, Route 53, Certificate Manager, and tools and technologies. We are going to use Jenkins, Docker, Trivy, and Terraform and GitHub. And programming languages, we are used HTML, CSS5, JavaScript, and Tree.js. Okay. So this is the architecture right now we are going to follow. So initially we created an Ubuntu EC2 instance, and they right now we are going to install Jenkins, Docker, Trivy, and Terraform, right? So after completing this, we are going to write a Jenkins pipeline to pull the source code from the GitHub repository and authenticate with AWS. And next, it will authenticate with AWS ECR. So next, using Terraform, it will provision VPC, public subnets, internet gateways, route tables, application load balancer, target group, and ECS cluster. And finally, Jenkins will deploy the latest Docker image to AWS ECS. And finally, we are going to map application load balancer DNS name to Route 53. And at last, we are going to request a public certificate from Amazon Certificate Manager. That means we are going to request an SSL and TLS certificate for our domain using Amazon Certificate Manager. Okay, so this is the final output. Okay, so have created in an end-to-end way. So again, one thing I want to tell you. So if you open this Diwali wishes, inside this we have readme file. Okay, so if you want to know how I built this Diwali website, means you can directly visit this readme file. Similarly, if you want to see for Terraform scripts, you can directly open this readme file and you can directly visit this readme file. So okay, you will get an idea how I have developed this Terraform scripts and everything. Similarly for Jenkins files, okay. So you can directly open this Jenkins and Jenkins file. I can readme file.md. Okay. So you can directly read this file to know about this Jenkins file. Okay. So now let's without wasting time, let me open this. So here you can see all the scripts has been installed successfully. So now let me hit Terraform hyphen version. So this is the Terraform version. Now Trivy hyphen version. So it will display the Trivy version. Now AWS hyphen version. So it will display AWS version. Okay. So now let me install Docker apt install docker.io. Sorry. Let me hit sudo y. Okay. So now meanwhile let's open this and let me open this EC2. Meanwhile, let's connect to Jenkins. So before connecting to Jenkins, we need to provide port 8080 on security groups. So directly open this security and directly open this project security group and directly select here edit inbound rules. So currently we have given only SSH access, right? So now we need to provide 8080 access. So you need to select type as custom TCP and port you need to provide 8080 because Jenkins will run under the port of 8080 and source here you need to select anywhere from IPv4 and save rules. Now directly select your instances and select this instance and copy public IP address, open a new tab and here HTTP colon slash slash and VM IP with port 8080. So now it will connect to this Jenkins. So before this, let's come here. Okay, let me hit sudo su. Right now we are on root user. Now system ctl start docker. Now system ctl enable docker. Now systemctl status docker. Okay, so now let's see the status of docker. Now our docker is active and running. Okay, so let me clear the screen. So now let's copy this path. So inside this path you can find Jenkins password. So here directly hit cat and directly paste that path here. So inside this path you can find Jenkins password. So directly copy this and you can directly paste it here. Continue. Okay, so now it will connect to Jenkins. Directly select here install suggested plugins. So now Jenkins will install few of the plugins. So let's wait. So here you can see all the plugins has been installed successfully. So now username, let me provide username as Vijay. Let me copy this and password I'm going to provide Vijay. Confirm password Vijay, full name Vijay and email vijay@gmail.com and save and continue. Okay, so now let me open this. So successfully we installed all this Jenkins, Docker, Trivy and Terraform. So now we successfully connected to Jenkins and now we need to install all these plugins, AWS credentials, Docker, Terraform and pipeline stage view. Okay, so let's come here, close this, save and finish. And here you can see Jenkins is ready. Start using Jenkins. So directly select here manage Jenkins and directly select here plugins. And here you need to select available plugins and here search for AWS credentials. Next you need to install Docker Commerce, Docker Pipeline, Docker API, Docker build steps. Okay. Next you need to install Terraform, and at last we need to install Pipeline Stage View plugin. Okay. Pipeline Stage View. Okay. So this is the plugin. So you need to install all these plugins and directly select here install. So here you can see it is started installing all these plugins. So here you can see all the plugins has been installed successfully. So now here you need to select restart Jenkins. So now Jenkins will restart. So let's wait for some time. So now we need to provide username as Vijay and password is also Vijay and sign in. So now it will connect to our Jenkins. So here you can see successfully it is connected to Jenkins and directly select here Jenkins and once again select here manage Jenkins and directly select here tools. Okay, so previously we installed Docker and Terraform plugins, right? So we need to integrate that plugins on Jenkins tools. So you can directly come to bottom of the page and here you can see Terraform installation. So directly select here add Terraform. So let me provide the name like Terraform and here let me remove this. So already I just installed Terraform in this EC2 instance, right? So let me hit which Terraform. So directly copy this path and you can directly paste it here. Now similarly for Docker installations, add Docker and let me provide the name like Docker, install automatically, add installer, download from docker.com. Okay, I'm going with the latest version and directly select here, apply and save. Okay, so up to here it is completed, right? So now we need to create AWS IAM access keys and secret keys and we need to provide that keys on Jenkins credentials with this name AWS credentials -id. So okay, so you can create with any of the name, that is not an issue, but you need to provide that names in Jenkins pipelines guys. Okay, so in order to use that credentials. So now let me open IAM in a new tab and directly select users. And this is my user Vijay Gituri and security credentials. And here we need to select create access key, and here we need to select CLI, and you need to confirm this and directly select next and directly select create access key. Okay, so here you can see this is the access key and this is the secret access key. So let me copy the access key and directly jump onto credentials and directly select global, add credentials, and here kind you need to select AWS credentials. So here ID. So ID, let me copy this same ID and let me paste it here, and this is the access key. So now we need to copy this access key and we need to paste it here. Now here we need to copy secret access key and we need to paste that secret access key here and directly select here create. Okay, so now using this access keys and secret keys, Jenkins will authenticate with our AWS account. So similarly, now we need to create a GitHub personal access token and we need to provide that token on Jenkins credentials with this name. So, okay, so here you can see in order to clone the GitHub repository. So basically it's a private repository, right? Previously, as I said. So in order to clone this repository, we need to create GitHub personal access token and we need to provide that token on Jenkins credentials. So directly select here profile and directly select settings and directly select here developer settings and personal access tokens, and here you need to select tokens as classic and generate new token, and here you need to select generate new token which is classic. So let me provide the name like ECS token. So here you can give the name whatever you want. So expiry, I want to expire this in next 7 days, so I'm going to provide full permissions for this. Okay, so now here we need to select generate token. So now here you can see a token has been generated, right? So now directly open this, directly select add credentials. So kind here you need to select username with password, and now let me copy this name. Okay, so let me copy this name GitHub-cred. Let me copy this, and username is Vijay Gidituri. So this is my GitHub username, and ID I'm going to provide this GitHub-cred, and description also GitHub-cred. So here we need to provide password. Password is nothing but GitHub personal access token. So this is the one. Let me copy this and let me paste it here and let me select here create. Okay. So let me copy this and let me save this in a secure path, and let me open this main.tf and I will store that here guys. Okay. GitHub PAT personal access token, and I'm going to paste it here. Okay. So let me comment this. So now let me close this and repositories. This is the repository. Okay, so up to now we successfully installed Jenkins, Docker, Trivy, Terraform, and we connected to Jenkins and we installed all these plugins and we integrated on Jenkins tools, and we have provided our AWS IAM access keys and secret keys. Similarly, we have provided our GitHub credentials also. Okay, so let's create this S3 bucket and ECR repositories while explaining this Jenkins pipeline. Okay, so now let me open this Jenkins in a new tab. And now let's create a new Jenkins pipeline. So directly select here new item and let me provide name like ECS Diwali pipeline. Okay. So here you need to select pipeline and okay. So here we need to provide our pipeline. So you can directly open this repository and directly jump onto Jenkins and directly select your Jenkins file. Okay. So directly copy this first pipeline and directly paste it here and directly select your apply. Okay. So I'm not going to write this pipeline, but I will explain you in detail about this Jenkins pipeline, guys. Okay. So first let me open this VS Code. So I will explain that Jenkins pipeline in this VS Code. That will be better. Let me open this Jenkins file. Okay. So here you can see this is our Jenkins pipeline. So basically I have created a declarative Jenkins pipeline. So whenever any declarative Jenkins pipeline starts with a pipeline, so here we are going to use agent as any. So these are all the environmental variables we are going to pass for our Jenkins pipeline. So basically we are going to deploy our application on US East 1 region. So that's where I'm going to provide US East 1. So if you want to deploy this application in some other regions, so let me keep it here. So if you want to deploy in some another regions, you need to copy that region. Okay, so you need to copy that region, these names, and you need to provide that in this Jenkins pipeline, guys. Okay, so similarly, you need to provide that name here. Next, you need to copy your AWS account ID. So you can get that AWS account ID from here. You can directly drop down this and copy this account ID, and you need to provide that account ID here. Okay, so next, this is the image tag. So as I said earlier, so always this while building Docker image, it will tag the Docker image with the latest Jenkins build number. For example, if the Jenkins build number is 5, it will tag with 1.0.5. For example, if the Jenkins build number is 10, it will tag with 1.0.10. Okay, so this is the ECR repository URL. So first, before explaining this, let me copy this repository name, and we need to create an AWS ECR repository in order to store our Docker images. Okay, so you can create with any of the name, that is not an issue, but you need to provide that name here, guys. Okay, so let me open this ECR in a new tab. So directly search for ECR, Elastic Container Registry. So basically Elastic Container Registry is used to store our Docker images. Okay, so let me select here repositories. So currently I have only two repositories, so let me create a new repository for our project. So directly select here create repository, and let me provide repository name as ECS test repo. Okay, so you can give any of the name, that is not an issue, but you need to provide that name here. Okay, so directly come down and directly select here create. So here you can see ECS test repo has been created. So inside this repo, we don't have even single Docker image. Okay. So now let me open this. So we use this ECR repositories to store our Docker images. So let me select here repositories. So just observe this URL, guys. Here you can see this is our account ID dot dkr dot ecr dot. So this is the region US East 1 dot Amazon AWS.com slash. So this is our repository name ECS test repo, right? So let me open this. So just carefully observe here, guys. So here you can see AWS account ID. So here it will take this account ID dot dkr dot ecr dot AWS default region. So it will take this default region dot Amazon AWS.com slash ECS test repo. Okay, so this is our repository name. Similarly, here you can see ECS test repo. So basically, you can directly copy this and you can directly paste it here. That is also not an issue. Okay, so this is the Terraform directory, TF directory. Okay, so inside this directory only we have our Terraform scripts, ECS hyphen Terraform. Okay, you need not to modify this. What you need to do is you need to modify this account ID and you need to modify this ECR repository name. Okay, so you need to modify only two things, or else if you want to deploy in some other regions, you need to modify that region name also. Okay, so this is about the environmental variables. So from here it will start all the stages. So in the first stage it will clean the current workspace always. Okay, so in the second stage using these credentials github-cred. So first it will enter into Jenkins credentials and it will search for this github-cred. Let me open this and let me open this credentials. Okay, so here you can see github-cred. So first it will search for this name. So inside this we have our GitHub username and the personal access token, right? So using that credentials it will clone the GitHub repository, guys. Okay, basically let me open this. You need to open this and you need to select this code and you need to copy this repository URL and you need to modify that repository URL here. Okay, so let me copy this. Okay, similarly like this you need to modify your repository URL. Okay, so using this github credentials it will clone this current that means it will clone this GitHub repository. So in the second stage, okay, so just carefully observe here, guys. Okay, so first it will enter into Jenkins credentials and it will search for this name AWS credentials ID. So let me open this and here you can see AWS credentials ID. So using this credentials it will authenticate with AWS account. Okay, so basically we have in this AWS credentials ID we stored our AWS access key and secret key, right? So using that AWS IAM access keys and secret keys, so this Jenkins will authenticate with our AWS account and it will log into AWS ECR. Okay, so this is the second stage. So this is the very important stage. So this is the third stage. So first it will enter into the directory called Diwali-wishes. So here you can see this is the directory Diwali-wishes. So first it will enter into the directory and it will build the Docker image. Okay, using this Docker file. So and next it will tag the Docker image with image tag, that means latest Jenkins build number, that means with this ECR URL and with this image tag. Okay, always this Jenkins pipeline will tag with the latest Jenkins build number. Okay, so that one you need to remember, and after that it will tag with the latest tag, and after that it will push two Docker images, that means tagged Docker image, that means latest build Docker image as well as the latest tag Docker image will push to AWS ECR. Okay, so this is about the third stage. So I just forgot to add this stage here. Let me open this and let me open this Jenkins file. So here you can see this is the stage. Let me copy this and let me open this. Let me paste it here. Okay. So this is the fourth stage. Okay. So using Trivy, we are going to scan our latest Docker image for any of the security issues. Okay. Always it will scan the latest Docker image. Okay. For example, if the Jenkins build number is 6, it will tag with 1.0.6, right? It will tag that, it will scan the Docker image. For example, if the Jenkins build number is 10, it will tag with 1.0.10, right? It will Trivy will scan the Docker image. Okay, always Trivy will scan the latest Docker image for any of the security issues. Okay, so now this is the fifth stage. Okay, so in this stage, first it will authenticate with our AWS account. Okay, using our AWS credentials previously as I explained, and basically first it will enter into this Terraform directory. env.tf directory is nothing but this directory, guys. Tf directory is nothing but ECS-Terraform. Okay, so let me show you that. So here you can see ECS-Terraform. Inside this directory, we have Terraform scripts to provision AWS infrastructure like VPC, subnets, routetables, internet gateways, application load balancers, target groups, and ECS clusters and everything. Okay. First, it will enter into that ECS-Terraform directory, and it will do Terraform. First, it will authenticate with AWS account, and after that, it will do Terraform init. Okay, and after that, it will do Terraform plan, and next, it will do Terraform apply. Okay, so basically, it will enter into this. Okay, let me open this main.tf file. Okay, so basically I just created this entire Terraform scripts using Terraform modules. So let me explain you about this Terraform scripts, guys. Okay, then you will get an idea on this. So basically I created this entire Terraform scripts using Terraform modules. So this is the provider block. So provider is AWS. I'm going to deploy this on US East one. So if you want to deploy in some other regions, you need to modify that region name here. Okay, so now this is the block for S3. So basically we are going to store our Terraform state files inside an S3 bucket. Okay, so you need to create an S3 bucket manually, but you need to provide that name here. You can create with any of the name, that is not an issue, but you need to provide the S3 bucket name here. Okay, so let me copy this and let me open S3 in a new tab. Let me open S3. So here we need to create an S3 bucket. So general purpose buckets. Okay, create bucket. So let me provide the bucket name here and directly come down and directly select here create bucket. Okay, so basically, so this is the bucket ECS Terraform bucket 001. Okay, so basically we are going to use this S3 bucket to store our Terraform state files. Okay, so inside dev terraform.tf state, it will store all the Terraform state files. Okay, so this is the module for VPC. So first it will enter into dot modules and VPC module. Okay, so let me open this VPC hyphen module. So first it enter into modules and it will enter into this VPC module. Inside this we have main.tf file. Okay, so first it will provision VPC, next it will provision public subnet, and it will provision internet gateway, and next it will create a route table. Next it will associate our internet gateway with this route table, and it will create a route table association. Next, it will create a security group with only 80 access. That means HTTP access. Okay. So now let me open this. So this is the module for VPC. So this is the module for ALB, application load balancer. Okay. So first it will enter into dot modules and it will enter into ALB module. Okay. So this is the modules and it will enter into ALB underscore module. Okay. So let me open this main.tf. So first it will provision AWS ALB, application load balancer. Next it will provision a target group. Next it will provision a listener role. Okay. So these are the Terraform scripts for application load balancer. Now let me open this Terraform scripts. So this is the module for ECS. It will enter into dot modules and ECS modules. Okay. So this is the one. Where is this? So here you can see ECS hyphen ECS underscore module. Okay. It will enter into this and inside this main.tf. First it will provision ECS cluster. Next it will create IAM role, guys, with this name ECS task execution role. Next it will create a policy. This is the policy, Amazon ECS task execution role policy, and it will attach this policy to this IAM role, AWS IAM role dot ECS task execution dot name. So here you can see AWS IAM role dot ECS task execution dot names. Okay, so basically it will attach this policy to this role. Next, it will create a task definition, and it at last it will create a service. Okay, for this service we are going to associate our load balancer. Okay, so this is about the Terraform scripts. So now let me open this Jenkins file. So you in this block it will provision entire AWS infrastructure using this Terraform scripts. Okay. So in the final stage, always uh, Jenkins will deploy latest Docker image. That means latest Docker image to AWS ECS, guys. Okay. So let me open this main.tf. Okay, variable.tf. So here you can see container image. So let me open this. So here you can see var.container image. So basically I just provided here nginx colon latest, but from pipeline we are going to pass our latest Docker image, guys. Okay, always this Jenkins pipeline will deploy our latest Docker image to AWS ECS. Okay, so I will explain you while running this Jenkins pipeline each and everything. Okay, so this is about the Jenkins pipeline, guys. Okay, so let's come here and let's run this Jenkins pipeline. Let me check this Jenkins pipeline. Okay, everything is good. Okay, let me select here apply. Let me select here save. Now here we need to select build now. So now it will start building this pipeline. Let me open console output in a new tab. So pipeline has been failed, guys. Let's check. So successfully clone the GitHub repository and it is authenticated with AWS and it is failed for Docker permissions. Okay, permission denied while trying to connect to docker daemon.sock. Okay, so basically it's a very common issue. Okay, initially it will fail. So let me close this. So you can directly open this terminal and directly hit chmod 777/var run docker.sock. Okay, docker.sock. So now this pipeline will not fail. So let me rerun this Jenkins pipeline build now. Before running this pipeline, let me cancel this pipeline, guys. Okay, sorry, I just forgot it that. Okay, that is not an issue, no problem. Let me open this console output. So currently here you can see Trivy is scanning the latest Docker image. So here you can see it is doing Terraform init. So let me open this and let me open VPC. So initially first it will start from VPC. Let me open this VPC. VPC. So here you can see currently it is showing only two VPCs, right? So let's wait. So here you can see currently it is deploying our latest Docker image, which is 1.0.2. Because here you can see currently Jenkins build number is 2, right? So currently it will provision entire AWS infrastructure and it will deploy the latest Docker image. Okay. So let's wait. So here you can see AWS networking setup is creating. So let me come here. So currently here you can see two VPCs it is displaying. So let me refresh this. So here you can see ECS VPC it is created. Let me select this and resource map. So here you can see ECS VPC has been created and two subnets has been created and route table has been created and internet gateway also it is created, guys. Okay. So entire resources has been created from networking side. So currently it is trying to create application load balancer. So let me open ALB. Let me open EC2 in a new tab, and here let me open application load balancer. Sorry, load balancers. So here you can see it is in provisioning state. Let me select here target groups. So here you can see target group also it is created. So let me open ECS in a new tab. Meanwhile, so here you can see ECS cluster also it is created, but no tasks are running. Okay. So currently even single task it is not running, guys. Okay. So let me open this tasks. So here you can see no tasks is running. So within some time, this Jenkins pipeline will deploy our application to that ECS cluster. Okay. So it takes nearly 3 to 4 minutes to complete this pipeline. Okay. So let's wait for the time. So here you can see our pipeline is green. So it is taken nearly 3 minutes 40 seconds only. So let me open this. So here you can see our pipeline is green. So let's check entire resources are provisioned or not. So earlier it is shown no tasks are running, right. So let me refresh this. So here you can see one it is in pending. Okay. So currently it is deployed our latest image to AWS ECS. So here you can see currently it is in pending, guys. Okay. It takes some time to come to running state. Okay. So meanwhile, let's check for ALB. Let me come here and let me refresh this. Okay. So here you can see our application load balancer is in active state. So here you can see using this DNS name, we can access our application. Let me open this target group. So here you can see our target group is also ready. Okay. So now let me come here. You can find this application load balancer DNS name and everything in this outputs. Okay. So here you can see. So this is the load balancer DNS name and this is the ECS cluster ID and this is the ECS service name and this is the ECS task definition ARN and these are the two public subnet IDs and this is the VPC ID, guys. Okay, everything it is displaying here. Basically I have written Terraform scripts like this, so it is created 17 resources. Okay, so let's check for ECS. Now let me refresh this. So now here you can see it isn't running. Okay, let me select here clusters. Okay, let me copy this DNS name. You can directly copy this DNS name from here or else from load balancer also you can directly copy the DNS name, guys. Okay, from here also you can copy this name, that is not an issue. Let me open a new tab and http:// and paste the DNS name here. So now we can access our application. So here you can see successfully we deployed our application on AWS ECS. So now let's test this. Let me provide the name like Vijay and start celebration. So here you can say Happy Diwali Vijay, wishing you a festival full of sweet memories, fun and love. Okay, so this is how we can deploy our application on AWS ECS. So now what we need to do is let me open this architecture. Okay, it's loading. Let me open this. Okay. So up to now we have completed up to here, right? So now we are going to map this application load balancer DNS name with Route 53. Okay. Previously I purchased a domain name on GoDaddy. So we are going to use that domain name. So now we are going to integrate with GoDaddy with Route 53. Basically we are going to create a Route 53 hosted zone. So after that we are going to update Route 53 name service with GoDaddy name service. Okay. So let's do that first. Let me open this and let me close this. Okay. So this is our application. Our application is working fine. Okay. So for now, let's close this. So because I have so many tabs here, now let me open GoDaddy. GoDaddy login. Let me open this. And here also, let me open Route 53. So basically here Route 53 is also a domain name service which is provided by Amazon, guys. Okay. So Let me select here hosted zones. So currently we don't have even single hosted zone. Let me open this GoDaddy and let me select here my products, and let me select here DNS. So here you can see this is the domain name previously I purchased. Okay, so using this domain name we need to create an hosted zone on Route 53. So let me copy this uh, domain name and let me open this Route 53 and directly select here create hosted zone. So here in domain name we need to provide that GoDaddy domain name and directly type public hosted zone. Okay, so directly select here create hosted zone. So now a hosted zone will be created. Now you need to select this name servers and you need to update this four name servers on GoDaddy name servers. Okay, so you need to open this and directly select here name servers and change name servers, and here you need to select I'll use my own name servers. Okay, so directly select this, and now let's come here, copy first name server, come here and paste it here, and directly come here, copy second name server and come here and paste it here, and add name server and copy the third name server and paste it here. Now copy the fourth name server and paste it here. Okay, so now let's check this. So first name server is ns1258 AWS DNS, ns1258, and the second one is 751, third one is 1684, 751 1684, and the fourth one is 230. Okay, let me come here and 230. Okay, so now directly select here save and directly select here continue. So successfully we updated, it's showing still this GoDaddy name server. So let me refresh this guys. Okay, so it will update. So here you can see all the AWS Route 53 name servers has been updated on GoDaddy name servers. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to create a record for our application load balancer. Okay, so directly select here create record, and here I'm not going to add any of the subdomain, so I'm going to use this domain name which is vijayagirturi.in. So here I'm going with a record and you need to enable this alias. So here you need to select alias to application and classic load balancer and region. So in which region you have your load balancer, it is asking. So let me show you that. So my load balancer is provisioned on US East 1. Okay, so this is the load balancer, right? So you need to come here and you need to search for US-East-1. Okay, so here you can see it will populate our load balancer, ECS load balancer. Let me show you the one. So here you can see ECS load balancer. So you need to select this load balancer and directly select here create records. So here you can see it is updated successfully. So now we can access our application with our domain name which is vijayagirturi.in. Okay, so let me copy this. So I think it will not work immediately guys. Okay, so here you can see your connections is not private, it is telling. Okay, let me open this http://vijayagirturi.in. So it takes some time to update DNS guys. Okay, so now we need to wait for at least 10 to 15 minutes, or else sometimes it takes nearly 30 minutes to 1 hour to update DNS records. Okay, so here you can see this site can't be reached. Okay, so because DNS needs to be updated, so if you want to check that DNS entire thing, you need to open this DNS propagation checker. Let me open this DNS propagation checker. So inside this you can check all your DNS connections. So let me open this vijayagirturi.in and record type is a record, and let me select here search. Okay, so here you can see in single region also it is not updated. Okay, so now we need to wait for at least 10 to 15 minutes guys. Okay, so let's wait for that time. So I will be back once it is running. Okay, So after nearly 2 hours, our DNS records has been updated successfully. So now let me try to show you that application. So here you can see currently we are going to access using our domain, which is vijayagid3.in. So let me open this. So here you can see this is the domain vijayagid3.in, and we are going to access it using our domain. Okay. So let me open this ECS in a new tab, and let me, sorry, this is EKS. Let me open ECS, and let me open this ECS cluster and directly select tasks. So here you can see from last 2 hours ago it is deployed. From last 2 hours it is updated this DNS records. Okay. So now let's try to test this application. So I'm going to provide name like again Vijay, and I'm going to select here start celebration. So here you can see happy Diwali Vijay. Okay. So now let me try to refresh this, and let me try to open it here http://vijayagid3.in. So it's opening something. Let me open this. So let me open a new tab http://vijayagid3.in. Okay, so here you can see we can access our application here. Okay, so now let me select the name like Naresh and start celebration. So here you can say happy Diwali Naresh, wishing you success, health and endless joy with Diwali. Okay, so we can able to access our application. So now we are going to request a public certificate from Amazon Certificate Manager for securing our connection to convert our HTTP request to HTTPS, guys. Okay, so currently here you can see currently it is going to HTTP, that means not secure. So now we are going to request a public SSL and TLS certificate from Amazon Certificate Manager for HTTPS connection. Okay, so let's do this. So let me open this Amazon and let me search for ACM, Amazon Certificate Manager. Okay, so here you can see, let me open this in a new tab, and here you can see currently we don't have even single certificate, so I'm going to request a certificate. So directly select here request, and here you need to select request a public certificate. Request a public SSL and TLS certificate from Amazon. By default public certificates are trusted by browsers and operating systems. Okay, so directly select here next. Now here we need to provide our domain name. So this is our domain name, right? So you need to copy this domain name, you need to come to certificate manager, and you need to provide your domain name here. Okay, so validation method I'm going with DNS validation. Key algorithm I'm going with RSA2048. Okay, so directly select here request. So here you can see certificate is ready, but it is in the pending validation. So now we need to update this certificate on AWS Route 53. So you can directly select here domains, or else you can directly select here list certificates. So this is our certificate, right? So our certificate is ready, but its status it is in pending validation. So you need to select here create records. So before creating this records, let me open this Route 53. So here you can see currently here we have only 3 records, right? So when we select here create a record in Route 53, it will create a new CNAME record. Okay. So let me show you that. So directly select here create records in Route 53. So we are going to request an SSL certificate for this domain, right? So here we need to provide this and directly select here create records. So now this certificate manager will create a record on Amazon Route 53. Okay, let me open this and let me refresh this. So here you can see a CNAME record has been created. So let me keep like this. So at last here you can see 11b68.vijayagid3.in. So let me come here. So let me show you that. So here you can see 11b68.vijayagid3.in. So this is the CNAME record, it is updated. So now within some time this status will change it to issued. Okay, so let's wait for some time. So let me refresh this page, or else let me, so here you can see status has been changed to issued. Okay, so let me open this and it is issued, and let me come here. So now we need to update listeners and rules on application load balancer, guys. Okay, So let me open this application load balancer. Meanwhile, let me open EC2 and directly select, let's wait, load balancers. And this is the load balancer, right? So you need to select this load balancer, and here you need to select listeners and rules. So currently it is listening on port 80. Okay. So even certificate is issued in load balancer, it is listening on port 80. Okay. So you need to add rule for port 443. Okay. So directly select here add listener, and here you need to select protocol as HTTPS, and here you need to select 443, and here you need to select your target group. Okay. Now let's come down, and here you can see default SSL and TLS server certificate, and from Amazon Certificate Manager you need to select this certificate. Okay. Directly select here add listener. Okay. So now we can access our application using HTTPS. So before that we need to update security groups also, guys. Okay. We need to update port 443 on this application load balancer security groups. So directly select here application load balancer and directly jump onto security and open this security group. Now directly select here edit inbound rules, add rule. So here you need to select HTTPS. Okay. So here 443, and here I'm going to select anywhere from IPv4 and save rules. So now we successfully modified our security groups also, right? So now we can access our application using HTTPS. Okay. So now let's try to do that. Let me open another tab. HTTP. Let's try with HTTP. Okay. So it's loading. Again, it's not working. So I don't know why. But this time it has taken nearly more than 2 hours to update DNS records, guys. Okay. So or else let's try with HTTPS. HTTPS colon slash slash vijayagidthuri.in. Directly select advanced. Proceed with this domain. Okay. 404 not found. It is displaying. Okay. So let's try to refresh this. Again, let me try to check this uh, DNS. Let me refresh this. So it's updated successfully, but we are not able to access the application. It's opening something. Let me try with https colon slash slash vijayagidthuri.in. Okay. Again, it's not loading. So let's wait for some time. So let me check Amazon Certificate Manager first once again. So this is the certificate, and currently it is issued. Let me open this, and domain is also success. Okay. So it needs to work actually. So okay, no problem. Let's see this. Let me refresh this, and here record also has been updated. So let me open incognito window, reload, or else let's do one thing. So let's open this load balancer and directly select listeners and rules, and directly select the HTTP port 80. Okay. So now directly select this under listeners and rules, directly select this and directly select actions, directly select edit rule, and here protocol I'm going to modify to HTTPS. Now default action I'm going to redirect to URL. I'm going to add here port 443. Okay. So what I'm going to do is like, so any request coming from HTTP, I'm telling to forward to HTTPS. Okay. So I'm going to redirect this URL, and let's come down, and I'm going to provide this Amazon Certificate Manager certificate. So directly select here save changes, So now let's open this HTTP. Okay, it's opening this. Okay, let's open here. Let me close this http://vijayagirturi.in. Okay, again I will be back once these DNS records are updated. Okay, so let's wait for some time. So here you can see finally we can access our application using HTTPS and our connection is also secure. So let me show you the certificate. So here you can see this is the certificate which is provided by Amazon Certificate Manager. Okay. So let's do final validation. So I'm going to provide name as Vijay and start celebration. Okay. So here you can see Happy Diwali Vijay. May the divine light of Diwali brings peace and harmony to your life. Okay. So let me refresh this. Again, it's not working. Okay. So let me open this once again. https://vijayagirturi.in. Let's try with http://vijayagirturi.in. So again here you can see we can able to access the application and connection is also secure guys. Okay. So let's test once again with another name Naresh and start celebration. Okay. So here you can see currently our application is working fine. Okay. So and yes, that's it for this today's project guys. Okay. So now let's terminate this entire project. Okay. So you can directly close this and you need to create another pipeline to delete this entire infrastructure. Okay. So directly open this GitHub repository and open Jenkins and you can directly open this Jenkins file. So now directly copy this destroy pipeline. Okay, so directly copy this, come here, and now you need to create another pipeline. So directly select here add item and here destroy pipeline. Okay, so again you need to select here pipeline. Okay, directly come down and paste that pipeline here. Okay, so here you can see here also we are going to create a declarative Jenkins pipeline. So declarative pipeline always starts with pipeline and here we are going to use agent as any. So these are the environmental variables we are going to pass. So in this region we provisioned entire infrastructure, right? US East 1 and ECS-Terraform is nothing but in this directory only we have all our Terraform scripts previously as I explained. Okay, so here you can see in this directory only we have our Terraform scripts. So in the first stage, it will clean the current workspace. Again, it will take the source code from the GitHub repository. It will authenticate with our AWS and using it will enter into this directory, which is ECS-Terraform directory, and it will destroy entire AWS resources, guys. Okay. So directly select apply and save and directly select here build now. So now this pipeline will take around 7 to 8 minutes to destroy all these resources. Okay. So we need to wait for the time console output. So here you can see it will start destroying all these resources. Okay. So here you can see it started destroying. So totally it is going to destroy 17 resources guys. Okay. So now this will not work. Let me refresh this. It started destroying, right? So here you can see it's not working. So let's wait for next 7 to 8 minutes. So here you can see our destroy pipeline is also green. So entire resources are destroyed. So let's check one by one. So let me open this load balances. So currently it is showing ECS load balancer, right? So let me refresh this. So here you can see no load balances. So let me select here target groups and let me refresh this. So here you can see no target group. So similarly, let's open VPC. So we need to see ECS VPC. So let's check that. Let me select here your VPCs. So here you can see we don't have ECS VPC. So now let's select here ECS and directly select your clusters. So here you can see we don't have even single ECS cluster. Okay, so entire resources has destroyed by using Terraform and Jenkins. Okay, so now let me close this. Let me select here Jenkins. So these are our two Jenkins pipelines. So once again, if you try to build this first Jenkins pipeline, again entire resources will be created and our application will be deployed on AWS ECS, guys. Okay, so I will provide this repository link in this video description. Okay, so now I'm going to uh, open EC2 and I'm going to delete that EC2 instance Jenkins VM, that means. So I'm going to delete this EC2 instance. Okay, instance state and terminate. Okay, so now this Jenkins will not work within some time. Okay, so here you can see it is going to shut down. So here you can see this site can't be reached. Okay, Jenkins is not working. So now what we need to do is like we need to delete certificate manager. Directly open Amazon certificate manager and select list certificates and directly select this and select more actions and directly select here delete and directly select here delete and delete. Okay, so here you can see our certificate has been deleted successfully. So now let me open Route 53 and directly select here hosted zones. So you cannot delete this hosted zone directly, guys. Okay, so if you try to delete this, it will throw an error. So here you can see if I try to delete this hosted zone, it will throw an error. So here you can see you need to enter into this hosted zone and you need to select this A record and you need to select the CNAME record and first you need to delete these two records, guys. Okay, delete, and next you can directly delete this hosted zone. Directly select this hosted zone, delete, and directly select here delete and delete. Okay, so now hosted zone also it is deleted. Okay, so now let me open this and let me check VM. So here you can see our EC2 instance also it is terminated. So now let me open ECR. So I forgot it to show you the Docker images which are stored in ECR. So let me show you that and directly select repository. So this is the ECR repository, right? So here you can see we have three Docker images, latest image 1.0.2 and 1.0.3. Currently we have only three builds, right? So that's why these are the images. Okay, so if you want to delete this ECR repository, so directly select this, delete and delete. Okay, so let me show you the S3 also. So here you can see this is the S3. So ECS Terraform bucket. So we use this bucket to store our Terraform state files, right? So inside this here dev, right? So inside this terraform.tf state, inside it will store all the Terraform state configuration. Okay, so now I'm going to delete this bucket also. You can directly select this, delete, and first we need to empty this bucket. So directly select this empty bucket and now directly copy this, permanently delete, copy this, paste it here and directly select here empty. Now directly select exit. Now try to delete this bucket. Okay, delete, and now directly copy the name of the bucket. So this is the name of the bucket and paste it here and delete bucket. Okay, so our S3 bucket also it is deleted successfully. Okay, so and yes, that's it for today's video. So let me refresh this, it is showing something. Okay, so we don't have anything. Okay, so and yes, that's it for today's video, guys. So if you liked my video, please do like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And once again, happy Diwali to everyone and bye everyone.